This video will show you how you can install a new predictive or prescriptive algorithm into the TrustAI framework. It is assumed that you have the TrustAI framework running. Otherwise, please refer to the README or tutorial video on how to install the framework. As an example, we will install a standard genetic programming or SGP algorithm. This algorithm can be run using the sgp_train Python script. How this algorithm works is not important for this video, as long as it's compatible with the TrustAI framework. Ensuring this compatibility includes three important components. First of all, ensuring the correct format of the output data. Secondly, ensuring the correct format of the input parameters. And lastly, ensuring correct installation of your algorithm. First, we consider the format of the algorithm's output, which can include symbolic expressions and any number of metrics. Any metrics related to a run of your algorithm should be written to a file called metrics.csv with the following format, where the first row of the file contains the names of the columns, for example, the RMSE or root mean squared error. And secondly, the time it might have taken your algorithm. And then in the second row, the values of these metrics, in both cases separated by a semicolon. Then the progress of your algorithm should be written to a file called generations.csv, for which the format can look like this. Again, in the first row of this file, we have the generation, the model, the fitness, and the size, again separated by semicolons. But you can add any number of custom metrics to this file. Then in each line, there is the output of one generation or epoch of your algorithm, where in the first column, we have the generation number, then the symbolic expression of the best model found so far in either prefix or infix notation, then the fitness and the size of the model. But again, here you can also add any different kinds of metrics. Again, all these columns are separated by semicolons. This concludes the format of the output data. Second, we consider the input parameters. Within the framework, it's possible to specify the parameter settings for your algorithm in text boxes, but these parameter settings are written to a JSON file called config.json with the following format. So this JSON file is written by the framework, and these are the values that you selected within the framework from the text boxes. And then this config.json file has to be read by your algorithm. In Python, and in this example, we're using a Python file. It's very easy to read this config.json file with the JSON package. You just specify a file with open and the file name, here config.json, and then you load the parameter dictionary with the json.load function, of course, after importing the JSON package. Now all your parameters are in this parameter dictionary object, and you can obtain the parameters themselves by calling taking the names, using the names as keys for this parameter dictionary to, for example, take the generations, the population size, and mutation rate parameters. But of course, you can add any number of parameters here, for example, strings or any other number of integers or floating point numbers. Now you have to specify which parameters are used by the algorithm are done in a different JSON file that is called here sgp_config.json with the following format, because SGP here is the name of our algorithm, the standard genetic programming. And this SGP config file has the following format. First, we have the unique ID, which should be different from all the other algorithms in the framework. then a name describing your algorithm, any kind of description. And then this registry image and local image will be the name of the Docker image that you'll be creating later, with the name that you specify here, colon, and then the version number or latest. And this name is important, but we will get back to it later. And for the local image, you can just add the same value as for the registry image. Type here can be either prescriptive or predictive, and these multi-tree value should be false. This is irrelevant. The expression format is the format in which the models are read from your output files, which can be either prefix or infix. And then importantly, commands is how your algorithm will be called from the framework, where the command type can be either train or test, depending on whether you're doing a training or testing run. And then the command will be the commands that will be used to call your algorithm. And because it's in a Python file called sgp underscore train.py, we use Python to call this algorithm. Then to specify the input parameters, we use this schema where the type and additional properties, you can just copy these values. And then the actual parameters that you'll be able to use for your algorithm and that will show up as input boxes in the framework are specified here under properties, where each of the input parameters that you want to specify is one of these blocks. For example, the generations parameter has type integer with a minimum of 1 and a default value of 10. You can also specify a floating point number, which here is called number, with a minimum and a maximum value between 0 and 1, and a default value of 0.2. To run your algorithm in the TrustAI framework, you need to create a Docker image. For this purpose, navigate in a terminal to the location of your algorithm and run the following command, which will be docker build -t and then the name of the Docker image, which is the name that you specified in the configuration file, and then a period to specify the current location. After waiting for this to finish, we can navigate to the TrustAI framework and upload a new configuration by clicking upload new and uploading the sgp config, which is the file where we specified all these properties and the sgp train and the name of the Docker image, and upload this configuration file to the framework. Now you can see that the algorithm was uploaded, and you can click it here, the standard genetic programming, to see that you've uploaded a new algorithm. Now, before we can create a session with this algorithm, we need to specify a configuration for this algorithm. So we go to configurations and create a new configuration. So we will just call this SGP default. You can put any description, and we select the standard genetic programming and then a training run. We create this, and as you'll see, you will find input boxes for the generations, population size, and mutation rate parameters that you specified in the configuration file. And you can save these. And now this configuration can be used in a session. So we go to the Sessions tab, and we can create a new session where we call this session SGP training session. And we select the standard genetic programming as the algorithm, and we select type train. For the configuration, we will select the SGP default that we just created, and then we create the session and we can start it. After waiting for this run to finish, now you'll see that in this box, you'll see all the generational output of your algorithm, where you see the generation number, the model, the size, and fitness, which are the values that you had written to the output file generations.csv. Also, you'll see here a graph of the fitness and the size and some logs. And again, you'll be able to use the filter and evaluation tabs and all the other features of the Trust AI framework. That is all for this video. I hope this video helped in installing a new algorithm into the Trust AI framework.